Your dog is 99.8% wolf.
This is some serial killer shit.
And wolves run in packs.
I don't think this is how any of this works.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
There's no easy way to say this, Wesley, so I'm just gonna come right out with it. Mommy and Daddy are splitting up, pal.
Who makes these laws? Wesley's property?
The outstanding issue is the custody arrangements. I'll assign a veterinary behaviorist to evaluate you both.
Wesley is on the verge of psychological disarray.
Who says I need a man? A good plan. Keep your heart in a cage and die alone.
I'll be with you in a minute. Mr. Lonigan, are you okay?
All right, let's talk about this grandma. So, grandma is in a karaoke bar.
Okay, anyway, welcome to the podcast.
But I don't want to talk about this.
Where we watch movies about good boys and bad movies. Today we watched Who Gets the Dog, a 2016 film starring Ryan Quanten and Alicia Silverstone. And it's an emotional vampire of a movie.
Should we rate the emotional vampirism characters in this?
I don't even
know.
know
Have
if
a ranking of who the most emotional vampire is.
It's all of them.
Who's the biggest?
All of them.
Well, I mean, are they all A tier, S tier? I feel like they're all at least A to S, right?
They're all S. The question is which are S plus at their job.
Of emotionally stealing any joy out of each other's lives. Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah.
This is a dog divorce movie.
Yep.
It's what it says on the cover.
It sure is.
I saw you scroll past this and I was like, wait, what? No, that can't be what it is. I need to see this. And you're like, do you really need to see this? I'm like, yes, I need to see this. Boix, I did not need to see this.
You did not need to see
I
the
didn't need to
divorce
see
movie.
This movie is what it says on the cover. It is, you scrolled past it, it said, Who Gets the Dog? And I went, that's a dog divorce movie? So it's about a couple that fight over their dog and they have to get back together for the sake of their dog. Like it's a shitty Mrs. Doubtfire, but with less transphobia, but also no jokes. And
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's right. Here's how low effort this is, though. They didn't even get the tagline right. It's not even the correct pun.
No.
The tagline of the film is breakups can be woof. Not rough.
Mm-hmm.
Not rough.
No.
Like rough cuts.
Woof.
Woof. Breakups can be woof. They didn't even fucking... Did they even say it out loud? Before they put it on the box?
No.
God damn it.
I can tell you right now that they absolutely did not. They didn't... Nobody thought about this movie past 5 minutes of the pitch.
No, like I was saying while we were watching it, they wrote this down on a Denny's napkin, covered it in coffee stains, and the blood of Marilyn Manson from a brawl that happened there. And then just handed it in to some producer and like, hey, can you make this? Is this good? Is this good?
I love that you're going to keep doing the niche joke that Marilyn Manson got beat to shit in my particular Denny's. That thing that literally nobody on the planet besides you knows. Perfect for our podcast. Hello, listeners. I'm glad that you now you have context for this joke.
Why would I need to give context to the Marilyn Manson getting beat up in
Why would
Denny's?
we need to give context to the jokes that we make on our podcast? None of the movies give context for any shit, so who cares?
Manson performed on Saturday night. Now, at around 2:30 Sunday morning, he and his entourage were leaving a Denny's when witnesses say Manson and a 21-year-old man got into a fight, and Manson got punched in the nose.
Like in this movie, okay, So you hear dog breakup movie. It's about them getting back together. Haha, wacky hijinks. So they break up, but they don't know who's going to get the dog. And then wacky hijinks ensue. And then they realize they're good for each other, so they've got to get back together. So let's write that movie. Okay, let's start out the movie. So what we're going to do is we're going to show a loving couple, and we're going to like build up how they met. Like we can kind of speed run it, maybe a montage or something, but like we'll show how they met, show like what their relationship is like, all the things they like about each other.
Give context.
And then we'll show like we'll give a setback.
Yeah.
Like something happens where like they try to have a kid and it fails, or like one of them doesn't want to have a kid yet. Or like there's some kind of tragedy or something that happens that causes an issue in the relationship, and then we show the downhill slide, and like then the dog is like, maybe they even get together because of the dog, right? Like maybe they meet in the dog park and they're like, oh, we should get a dog, and then they laugh about it, and it shows them adopt the dog, so the dog is like an integral part of the relationship.
And at some point the dog like after they break up, the dog does things like constantly brings up like stuff that they remembered about each other, so that there's context to why the dog was so important to their life.
Yeah. So all right. So like, because of course, what you'd want to do is you'd want to make it. This is about who gets the dog. You'd want to have the dog maybe be, like I said, integral to them meeting, and then like you said, you would have like where the dog would
holds them together.
Maybe like the dog. Yeah, maybe the dog always liked to eat like spaghetti and meatballs with them or something. So they always fed the dog, and then like, oh, I'm making spaghetti and meatballs. But we have too much because she's not here, or the dog's not here, right? Like it's throwing off my routine because I'm so used to us all being together. This sucks. Or we could just start the movie with them already broken up and fighting over.
And just being abusive shitheads to each other for like 50 minutes straight.
We could do that.
That would help. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just have them argue and bicker for 50 plus minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you know that.
I know that you know that he knows it's my place or no place.
About nothing. To show how much they like each other. And then how much they want the dog, because it's something that they should possess, and they have no emotional attachment to it at all. It's just a thing that they want. It's a MacGuffin. A dog guffin.
That sounds... We could probably... I mean, you're saying 50 minutes. Could we stretch that out to an hour and 45 or so to make people suffer more?
Oh, that'll be better for the box office. Yeah, we could release that in theaters.
We could really make people hate themselves if we make this movie. This would be great. So that's, I think we're done talking about the movie, right? We've done it. This is the podcast episode. I think that we nailed it.
I made a note 6 minutes into the film. It says, kill me? I don't remember the context, but that was not a good sign if that was 6 minutes.
Oh, this is gonna be super shitty.
I'm gonna hate the fuck out of this.
Yeah,
it's Christ.
How glad are you that you didn't get any sleep last night?
What kind of divine punishment is this?
This movie is stupid, and I want to say abusive, but it's not. It never rises to that level because there's not enough energy for it to, like. So here's the thing: I feel like it would be abusive in a way if they actually went for more quote unquote comedy and tried to make things zanier. But because everything in this movie is instead so flat and boring, it doesn't have enough energy to rise to that level, and it just settles for dysfunction. Like,
I guess.
I wouldn't call it abuse, it's just dysfunction. Like, this is the kind of movie that when my wife and I sit down and watch it, we both look at each other and we go, is this what people think relationships are? Because I feel like most marriages would have to be miserable, right? Like, is this what people are like? Is this what married people normally are like? Do they just hate each other all the time? Are they just miserable, incompatible assholes that despise everything about each other and like the men versus women thing? Like, is this what people are like?
I mean, probably to some extent, but also,
I guess, right?
Yeah, but
I just-
also, I think this is just like the barest minimum level of an understanding of a relationship, and it's extremely immature and childish and infantile in how it treats its characters and its audience.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's the lowest level possible writing for what they could have been trying to do.
Yeah, because to give context to this, so we have Ryan Quanten, who, oh boy, your career didn't take off after True Blood, hey buddy? Anyways, we have Ryan Quanten and Alicia Silverstone, who I was prepared to feel bad for until I saw that she was executive producing this piece of shit. So I'm like, okay, well, never mind. She apparently thought it was good enough to fucking pay money into, so you made your own bed, lady. You star in this. But they wrote Wine Mom and Stinky Hockey Dad.
Stinky Hockey Dad. This movie is more of a hockey movie than it is a dog movie. There's way more hockey than dog.
There is, but also, well, we'll get to that, because I feel like the resolution of the hockey storyline fucking pisses me off.
Are you saying the writer who didn't understand human relationships also doesn't understand hockey? Is that where you're going?
It's less that they don't understand it and more just the way that they end. That end, you know what I'm talking about with the ending. Do I need to just say it? Do I just need to say the way that they end?
Yeah, the ending
Okay,
sucks.
fine, fuck
Who gives
it.
a shit?
So the ending of this, throughout this entire movie, he is a minor league professional hockey player going place to place playing hockey.
Yeah.
And, like, so he's, I don't know, making $80,000 a year or whatever. And they're making it sound like he's a bum because of this, which is really fucking funny to me. Because they're like, I looked it up. I'm like, well, okay, well, if he's playing for the minors just underneath, like, the NHL, then, like, how much does the AHL, the American Hockey League, because, hey, I'm Canadian, I have to know a little bit about this. Like, what is their salary? Like, I'm like, what do people make during that? And I looked and I'm like, oh, they have a guaranteed minimum of $51,000 US a year. And I'm like, fuck, that's like 50% more than I make. Like, and they're trying to portray him as, like, this useless bum who lives in a mobile home.
That's because
motorhome thing.
The writers are just rich white people who don't understand human people that don't have money like they do.
Yeah.
You understand this, right? They're completely disconnected from reality.
Yeah, I guess. So, anyway, his storyline is that he wants to get called up to the majors, but he's a older guy because he's like 40, so he's in goaltender, and then they say, oh, Longo injured himself, which threw me really hard because they picked a name that's like a actual famous hockey player, Roberto Luongo, who was still playing at the time, but they said it as Longo, and so I don't think that's who they're referencing. I think that it's like they're picking Robert Longo instead of Roberto Luongo because you've got to be legally distinct.
They got the player's name wrong.
Generic beer,
and then they also said that he's going to be substituting in for the Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
The fuck?
Yes.
They got the team wrong.
You know, and the major hockey team.
And the sport wrong.
Clay Lonergan gets his first start in goal tonight for the Chicago Bulls in front of a sold-out crowd.
But, well, like, I understand they had to make up a hockey team because they don't have the rights to
you don't make
the
up
actual
the Chicago
NHL team.
Bulls. That's a
But you know, exactly, yeah. You don't use the other major sports team, the more famous sports team from Chicago as your name then. Yes, that's fucking stupid.
God
Correct.
damn it.
It's very dumb. It's very, 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 very dumb. But anyway, so his whole thing is that he wants to get called up to the majors, and then right as he does at the very end of the movie, and instead of going to his game, he's looking for his dog, but he manages to make it, and they're like, oh, it's his first major game, he's out there on the ice, and they show like a crowd cheering and him on the ice, and then hard cut to, Oh no, they just show a shot of the stadium, not even the game, nothing in the game, none of the actual hockey. This is like 10 seconds of, they show him on the ice, fans cheering, pyrotechnics go off, he waves to the crowd, he's so excited to be there, hard cut, arena, oh no, Lonergan has been hit, he's injured, we've got to rush him to emergency. Hard cut to hospital, he's being wheeled in. That's the end of the hockey storyline. Yep. They never mention that he's ever picked up, that he does a good job, nothing. He goes on the ice for 5 fucking seconds, gets fucking destroyed off screen so that he's permanently injured and never can play again.
Done with
that. End of the story. Done with that one. Who gives a fuck about this character's dreams? Y'all hate him anyways, right? We hated writing him. Bye.
My God.
Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. What the fuck is that ending?
It makes no sense.
They just never... They don't even mention that, like, whether he's on the team or off the team afterwards, whether he did a good job, nothing. Like, it's just... They totally dropped that entirely. And as you said... That is maybe the larger plot than anything else in this movie.
Right. Like,
nothing else has any stakes.
This could very easily be like a Mighty Ducks film or something, right? Like, it's more about him going to the hockey game than it is about him getting back together with his shitty girlfriend.
I cared more about that.
And he's shitty
cared
too.
Way more about it.
But,
yes.
Like, they're both shitty to each other, but, like, yeah, the hockey game's way more important. And all the positive moments of the film happen on the hockey rink.
Yes.
Everything else is a negative. Everything regarding the relationship is just down a fucking well of depression.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, they hate each other.
Yo, absolutely.
They hate each other. They have nothing in common. And they have no setup for any, like, joy in their relationship. They never show anything that they did together. Sorry, no, they do show one thing, I guess. They show one thing that they did together that they like.
I do know what they did together. They used to cosplay at the dog festival.
Yep.
And we know that because of the opening scenes as they're pulling up down all their stuff to move out from, the same apartment. There's just all these random fucking photos of them, like, cosplaying with their dog on their mantle with no context at all.
Yeah.
And then an hour and 20 minutes later, they're like, oh, we love going to the dog festival and dressing up like idiots. Like, okay, if that's your thing, but, like...
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But, like, we don't even see them... Again, you'd need to actually show that. Like, show them having a good, fun time at the dog festival, meeting this dog, like, enjoying each other's company. There's zero... These characters, until about an hour and 20 minutes in, do not show a single moment where they were like, wow, I used to really like to do this with the other character.
No, yeah, the only thing we get is, I can't believe you're doing this with someone who isn't me. The costumes they bought were from, like, Spirit Halloween.
You too.
Yeah.
Are going to the doggy festival without me.
Yes.
Yes.
You broke up.
It would really make
you don't like.
Go. And
correct.
You don't
Glenn
like her.
Center's having a demo
She
and
doesn't
he asked
like
me to help,
you.
Not that I can't believe that we enjoyed doing that so much. It's just I'm jealous of
yeah,
you
that's
doing
even
it.
even when they bring back that thing and she ends up going to the festival with a different boyfriend, it's just that he's mad that, well, we used to do that together. I like doing that. It doesn't have to do with I liked doing that with you.
It's just, I like doing it specifically, and you need to cater to me. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's so shitty. It's so shitty. Like, what were they thinking? I don't. Who?
There's
okay.
There's nothing redeemable. They make a boyfriend. So there's. Do you want to talk about the other boyfriend?
The German boyfriend? the guy
not German.
The standard white guy who speaks German to appear authoritative.
Bleib. Oh, gute Junge.
And
oh my god.
And all he does is talk about alpha males and being the leader of the pack for fucking every scene that he's in.
Your dog is 99.8% wolf. And wolves run in packs. Your dog needs a pack leader. Did you say that you're this dog's pack leader?
And for some weird reason, he has a shaved head. And I don't know why, but he has this strange tattoo on his arm. It's like 2 black lightning bolts. I don't quite get it.
This
Maybe
fucking skinhead that she meets, dog trainer.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Jesus
who's
Christ.
supposed to be a good guy. I think.
Well,
I
mean, no, he's supposed to be evil, right? Like, okay, like, I mean, if you're writing this from this is still a stupid premise and a stupid movie no matter what. But at least you understand the tropes of, like, okay, you need to set up these people like each other, and then you would probably have, like, the one outside guy that makes him realize that he misses being with her, right? Like, that's the way that a lot of these rom-coms are set up.
Right.
And he's the other guy always ends up being evil somehow. Like, he'll be trying to get her back because he's like, oh shit, I realized that I actually like her. And he's trying to get her back. And he's like, wait, that guy's all wrong for you. I found out that he's cheating on all these women all over town. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something like that. There's always something underneath. And so you're like, okay, they set this guy up as a weird dog trainer that they meet in the dog park when they're doing an Air Bud scene of trying to call the dog to each other they can
This is one of
determine
3 Air
who
Bud
gets
scenes
the dog.
in this movie.
Yeah, so they can determine who gets the dog, but also it's not binding in any way or anything because it's just them in the park with each other with their dog off leash like they're not supposed to. But he like whistles to their dog and makes it sit. And then he starts creeping on her really weirdly. And he then does like, oh, you gotta be an alpha. Your dog is mostly wolf, you see.
That's because both of you are both fucking betas.
Yeah, he
Jesus,
does that whole thing.
fuck.
Which obviously establishes him as a villain for us.
And your dog
but
is 99.8% wolf. And you need to be a pack leader and an alpha male.
Jesus
yes,
Christ.
and then he like starts counting in ein, zwei, drei to the dogs.
But he's seen as like a romantic interest that isn't bad in any way, and this is totally fine. And she finds him hot, and kind of in that he like asks her to like touch his chest during one of their meetings where one-on-one fucking training sessions. And she's just like, oh, wow, this is great. I don't want to kiss you, but I do want to fantasize about having sex with this this man who speaks German. He's not German.
See, what bothers me about all this is, like you said, it has all of the hallmarks of he's an evil, like, he honestly seems like a fucking skinhead. Like, he really does.
But in the context of the film, he's just a guy.
No, like, they never portrayed him as evil.
It's not even bad. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy. Like, they kind of portray it as, like, a little weird, but not bad.
Yeah.
And then he never does anything else that's evil. He never does anything. He
stops by
her.
unannounced at that party.
I mean, that was a jerk move, but the movie doesn't even really get
And he
into
called her out
it.
for wearing a costume at the dog festival.
Are you gonna wear that all day?
I was planning on it.
He's less shitty to her than the other guy is.
Way less shitty than the other guy is. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is saying a lot because I think this guy is basically a fucking skinhead.
I think he might be a serial killer too.
Like, basically.
Like, I think she kills people that he tricks into going to his dog training. I think that's what happens.
He gives those vibes. He gives those fucking vibes real hard. But the movie also just seems like it doesn't understand it. It's like it's like the movie filming Ted Bundy picking up women, and it's going like, look at this nice young boy. Look, he's so sweet. And you're like, oh my god. And the movie doesn't understand it, that this is really fucked up and weird. And this is not the guy energy that, like, This is obviously like villain energy.
Your quirky boyfriend that you pick up during the divorce of
No!
your other guy, right? Like, this isn't it.
Yeah. No. And then you're sitting there like waiting for him to do the heel turn where it's like the movie says obviously and unironically like, oh, this guy is bad news. Obviously like where he needs to break down and treat her like shit or treat something or like cheat on her with somebody.
Like he's putting on a face the whole time and then like mask off. Something.
Yes, there needs to be some twist where, like, suddenly you realize that he treats his dogs awful or whatever. Like, even if it's minor like that, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. He just does, like, weird speeches that are really off-putting. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's not solid enough to feel like he's a villain, really. But she dumps him, but she doesn't. Like, there's never...
I don't even think she officially dumps him at all.
No. And she never really dates him. Like, she goes out on a date, and he tries to date her, and they show one date, and then he shows up at a party, and he goes, oh, well, we're dating now. And she goes, yeah, I guess. And then he's not shown up for another 40 minutes, and then he shows up at the...
festival.
The festival because the other guy shows up in a costume to like try and win her back. He's not trying to win her back. He's just trying to get the dog back because he lost the rights to the dog because the court ordered him to not have the dog. And then after that, he never shows up again. Like they show up at the fair together, the dog festival, and he's in a costume.
He's kind of just
and
written
the other
out
guy's
of the film,
like, oh, costumes are stupid. Yeah, and the other guy goes, oh, costumes are stupid. And they have like a slap fight. And she goes, both of you guys break it up. And she leaves. And the scene ends. And then he's never seen again. And that's just the end of his storyline.
And then
he's just gone.
The two get back together for some reason.
And they have a kid.
They have a fucking kid. Why? They should never have a kid.
They shouldn't have a dog.
They shouldn't have a dog. Yeah. No, I agree.
They shouldn't have anything. They shouldn't have a relationship. They shouldn't have life. These people are miserable.
Here's another thing this movie doesn't understand. The court system. They're treating this dog like a child.
The evidence supports Miss Green's contention that she is the primary caretaker. She pays for all the costs to provide for the animal while Mr. Larnigan here.
I'm an ambassador of joy, Your Honor.
Seems less prepared for the responsibility of sole custody at this time. It is the court's decision to award sole custody to Miss Green.
Where you would
with
gain
all
custody.
Of the weight behind it of like,
and they even point out the fact that like the dude's reading... Clay is his character's name. He's reading books about, child custody. And his friend, who's very Canadian, and only speaks... He's Montreal. He sounds Canadian to me when he was talking, very obviously.
Okay.
But he's like, hey, those books are like, if it's a real human child, not a dog, you stupid moron.
You're innocent until proven broke, man.
We got here doing a little reading. Winning child custody.
That's
Father's
true.
Guide.
That's actually true.
That's good. I think it's for real human children, though. What's this one? Custody Warriors. That one sounds a little aggressive, but I mean, I like where your head's at.
And then the movie just breezes past that. Doesn't even give a shit. It brought it up and then immediately threw it away.
They brought it up and threw it away because the rest of the movie is everybody treating this dog like it's a real human child. Because they have a court system thing in here where they have court mandated visitation rights,
visitation hours.
They both get lawyers to argue. Well, he doesn't because he's too broke, making his like $80,000, $100,000 a year plus doing goaltending and getting called up to the fucking major leagues. I'm sure he's super fucking broke. So they have like a whole court thing where they get visitation hours and they have to see a therapist for their dog who will decide if they're a good enough home. Like, what's the cost to the court system for this case?
It's a veterinary psychologist who can talk to the dog by getting on all fours, climbing on the table and going bark bark.
What is the cost to the court system for this?
It needs to be more, to be fair. This is some quality fucking work.
Okay, Wesley.
Yeah, she's a dog whisperer. Yes.
What the
Is he okay?
fuck is
Wesley's
this
on the verge of
movie?
Psychological disarray.
Yes.
I mean, just look at him swimming around in there, lost in his own thoughts.
Which sounds like it's presented as a joke.
No.
But it's not.
There's nothing
It's
funny
given the
about that
energy-
scene at all.
But like, I also want to just say that the movie's not trying to make it funny.
No.
Like they don't even go zany with it and have like the two people look at each other and go, "Oh my god, like the psychiatrist is weird." Like there's nothing.
Do you think this movie believes that pet psychics are real? And dog whisperers and horse whisperers and all that type of stuff? Because I think that's where they were going with this. I think that this movie reeks of somebody, the writer probably, who's really into homeopathy medicine.
Yeah.
That type of thing, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how else they would come up with this and treat it the way they did in a rom-com.
Mm-hmm. It really bothers me too, because I think that there is like a ripe vehicle for some humor there, because
There
if you've
could be.
ever seen Bean, like if you've ever seen Bean John Malkovich, there's an incredible storyline there of the one woman having a monkey that she takes to a psychologist to like unleash its past trauma, and they mine that for some stuff. It's wild.
You don't know how lucky you are being a monkey. Because consciousness is a terrible curse.
Like, the monkey has a big character arc flashback where it deals with its trauma, and like they have a flashback scene for the monkey where it overcomes its childhood trauma and like escapes from its cage and saves the day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It got better adjusted from going to the psychologist, which is there's something there. It's weird, but like it's there. But this just does nothing.
The dog
This
isn't
does nothing.
a character in this movie, though. That's the problem.
No.
So the psychologist has nothing
No.
to do because the dog's just an object for them to fight over.
Mm-hmm.
Which says a lot if they're making this an allegory for a child custody case.
Yes.
Like, holy
Yes, it sure does.
shit. And
Yeah.
man, they're treating everything with that seriousness, so...
You nailed it when you said, when we were watching this, that it feels like if they had just inserted that it was a car or a television that they had bought together and were trying to figure out how to split, it would have made absolutely zero difference to the actual film.
Correct.
Because there's no... Like, honestly, you could have done a better job of them getting, like, a TV as a present from one of their parents that was a shared thing, and they both really loved that TV, and it meant something because dad died and now they're fighting over their heirloom TV. That would have been a better emotional like point to fix this movie on than this fucking dog, because they don't show any of how they got it, any of the times they spent together with it, any of the things they liked to do together with the dog, besides the 30 seconds that they spend in the beginning.
They do a
showing them
lot
in
of
costumes.
manipulative bullshit of, like, making things up that they did with the dog to try and tell the court, hey, I should have this dog. Like, lying about things.
I guess.
Like the guy lying about stuff in his video he's making for the court.
Oh,
she
I
lies
guess.
about, like, the dog being perfectly fine when it's ripping up her whole apartment. All they do is lie about things that they like to do with the dog, and that the dog likes being with them. That's all they do. There's no.
But like the lies
genuine...
are, but the lies aren't even specific things. It's not like, oh well, I love to have him home every day and we do our bubble bath together. Like, it's not like a thing that they do. It's like, oh, he really likes me. We play. We go, he's a big part of my life. He's a big part of my life. Like, it's all like these vague aphorisms of like, oh, well, I treat him like I'm his dad. He's my son. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? What do you do together? Well, I really love him. Okay, so what do you do? Well, he's a good dog. Okay, but what do you do together? What do you like about the dog? Well, he's a really good boy, and he's a nice dog, and I like him.
I feed him?
And it's that.
Yeah.
It's that. That's the things they say. It's like, we play together. And then it shows that that's a lie, because he tries to do a video of like, oh, look, we play fetch. And he throws a stick for the dog, and the dog doesn't know how to play fetch.
Yeah.
Because they don't do anything with this dog. The dog probably doesn't know how to play fetch because they've just left the dog at home all day.
You know, animal control should take this dog, I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
Here's the other problem. With all the allegories of custody cases of real children that happen in real divorces, they also put a real child in this film that went through a real divorce and had to go through custody with his parents. Who just hangs around with Clay's friend, his Canadian friend, all the time. It's his nephew.
Yep.
And it's up to Clay to teach him that it's okay that your parents divorced.
broke up. Yeah.
This fucking guy is the one that's going to handle that situation well. And teach this kid that it's okay and just keep going on with your life and it'll be fine. And it's not about you. They didn't break up because of you, kid. So anyway, he teaches him that it's okay to be mad and just scream and yell and break things and get drunk.
Yup.
Be a fucking complete mess of a human being.
Life gets me mad. I get mad right back at it. Feels good to let off a little steam.
That was not
I
a
do it
point
out
to
there,
laugh.
man, on the ice. That's hockey, man.
I'm laughing at how
That's right.
fucking
I know you got
stupid
some
they
steam
think
in
this
there.
is.
Pick up this bag. Just slam it down. Let out that steam.
Look,
Come
just
on.
destroy shit. Get angry.
How about this? Come on.
Kick a cop.
That's
Right?
hockey, man. Come on. Oh, incoming!
What?
Hey, what the hell's going on in here?
Hockey.
Hockey?
Just hockey. We should clean this up, huh?
Yeah, he goes like, you need to play hockey. Here, let's trash the locker room. That's hockey. And they just smash everything in the locker room. And then he goes, yeah, that makes you feel good, right? That's the shit.
That's
Like,
what you should do because your parents broke up. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck my parents, break shit. And it's like, oh.
They had a situation where they brought a literal child, not a dog being treated as a child, into the equation, and they fucked
Into
that
their
up.
story, yes.
They fucked that up too.
Well, I love that him showing this kid how to trash a locker room is then portrayed, because she then is at one point at like an hour and 20 minutes in when suddenly, so like throughout this whole movie, they are yelling at each other, they hate each other, they don't get along for anything. And then at a certain point at about an hour and 20 minutes when it's starting to wrap up, they both just suddenly go, I really miss the other person. And it's like, why? Why? How? What?
I forgot how much I love this person because the movie needs to end.
Yes, like there's zero impetus for it, and they just like, when they're around each other, they just suddenly are now wistful,
I guess.
which they've never been around each other this whole movie. Like, it's an hour and 20 minutes of them just shitting on each other, and treating each other like garbage, and then they just stop, and there's no explanation as to why. And she, at that point, goes, you know, he'd have always been a really good dad. Look at how he taught this kid how to fuck shit up.
Look how he taught this kid how to get mad.
Great. And then they just immediately have a kid 5 minutes later.
Yeah, he taught this kid how to get mad and lash out at everything around him. What a great dad. Love that man.
And 5 minutes later, they go, and then they had a child together. And I'm like, good.
What?
Great. The two worst people on the planet have fucked and had a child. Great. Love to see it. Whew, what a joy.
I don't know who this movie's for. Okay. The kid did get found out that he sucks at, or he did find out that he sucks at playing regular hockey, like with the stick on the actual rink. But he's really good at being a goalie. The kid has more emotional growth.
Yes.
And skill
absolutely.
growth in his hockey game than either of the main characters.
Correct, yeah. This child that is C-plot? D-plot?
One of the many
I think
plots.
D-plots. D-plot, probably. Because it's like hockey... I feel like hockey, the third relationship, them getting back together are like A, B, and C plots in some order. And then this kid is D-plot. And he has more growth and charm and stuff written into his storyline than anyone else in the entire movie.
Like, this should have been a film about them teaching this kid that went through a divorce of his parents how to, like, pick up his life and move on, and it's not the end of the world. That should have been the story. Not them fighting over this fucking dog.
No, like, yeah, they actually have... That kid is pretty interesting in his storyline, at least a little bit. Like, there's something there, at least slightly, more than anything else in this. And like I said, you could absolutely do an emotional core of, you know, like, this is her nephew or his nephew or something, and that kid brings them together because he realizes, like, how to be a dad or whatever, but no. And at the end of the movie, also, God, this is the other thing, like, that's kind of sort of supposed to be part of his emotional arc, is that with this kid, he eventually goes like, you know, I think that I want to have a family now. And then she suddenly, it like cuts to her and she goes, she's talking with her friend and she goes, you know, he never wanted to be a dad and blah, blah. Like, he just didn't want to have a family. He said that he did at one point, but then he kind of didn't. And that's why we broke up. And you're like, this is an hour and 20 some minutes into the movie. You can't now say this is why we broke up. He wasn't ready for a family and like retroactively change the rest of the movie. To be her problem with him was that he wasn't enough of a family guy. And now that he's ready and grown up because he's taught this kid, now he's ready to have a family, and that's why I want him. Because they kind of like very vaguely allude to that. Like, I don't want to say that that becomes the focus, because it is literally a minute and a half worth of conversations total throughout the entire movie. But they kind of insinuate that, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this was never set up. It was never said. Nobody mentioned it. Like, this is the problem of them not showing anything about their relationship until it's fucking over. Like, the movie starts with him walking out the door.
Correct.
Why would you start there? Why would you start there? Because, like, the whole movie, we kept on saying, like, okay, so he gets a new dog and moves out.
End of film.
End of movie.
Yeah.
End of fucking film. Right? Like, one of them takes the dog and the other one, like, and then they just move out. They just move out. Because they're not even... The other thing, too, is that this is set up... At one point, you went... So at the end of the movie, he goes, do you want to not divorce me? And, like, pulls out a ring.
A ring? But they...
And...
Yeah, but they were just dating.
At that point, I was like... I said, I'm like, what the fuck is this? They were just dating. And you're like, wait, were they only just dating? And I'm like, yes! They specifically say early on, boyfriend and girlfriend, not fiance, not married, nothing. These are just two people that were boyfriend, girlfriend for like a year and a half or two with a dog. There's nothing here. This is just, you break up and fucking move on. There's no emotional core to this movie. I'm done. Let's rate the fucking dog.
No, we're not
Right?
done. We're not done. Because so the court system not only went out of their way to do research on who actually adopted the dog and got the paperwork for it.
The judge does this.
The
not
judge
the lawyers.
did
The
it.
judge does
The judge
this.
did it.
Yes.
But it also, like, the whole film is showing how shitty Clay is and how bad he is at like, taking care of this dog. To the point where he almost burned down his mobile home with the dog in it.
Yes.
And at the end, it's just like, well, clearly clearly Olive would be better for taking care of this dog because the home environment's better. And she just has a better location to take care of this animal. And you have shown absolutely no skill or reason that we should let you keep this dog in your possession. Anyway, here's the paper that says you own it now. And fuck you. And she flips off Olive with both fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
And
why? You could have just gave it to Olive.
Then that's the resolution of the storyline.
You could have just gave it to Olive. There's no reason. This guy, there's nothing that says this guy deserves this dog.
Green clearly has a more stable home, and this probably would have been the deciding factor. That is, until I took a look at the adoption records.
Your Honor, those documents are missing.
The dog rescue agency was able to locate a copy.
So the judge went out of her way and did homework for them.
The adoption records were signed by Clay
No,
Larned.
judge would never
that makes
do that.
Wesley the legal property of Mr.
No.
Larnigan. This is no longer a custody issue. Bailiff, please return Mr. Larnigan's property to him. Court adjourned.
But I mean, legally, it would make sense that if his name's on the adoption papers, he owns the dog. Dogs are property.
But they could have just they didn't have to write that in. Everything in the film shows that he shouldn't have this thing.
I mean, it also undercuts the entirety of the rest of the story in that there's like this whole plot line of them fighting each other to be a better dog parent and make this dog less stressed and behave better so that their court-appointed animal behavior psychologist lady that barks at them can say that they're the number one parent and they'll keep the dog. So they have that whole thing, and then it's undercut in 10 seconds when they go back to court, and the lady goes, I've made a determination that the dog psychologist has said that Olive's the best mom, and obviously Olive needs the mom. So I thought, why don't I just fuck with this? And I went and did my own research and found the adoption papers, and actually it belongs to him. So anyways,
and then she told you to go on Facebook and do your own research when things come up, because that's more important. Fucking Christ. Okay, so that's bullshit. I have a couple more things I want to point out before we rate the dogs. I think these are important.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
In the first Airbud scene in the park, where they're having the Airbud of like, come on, dog, and they're both doing really stupid things and like smacking their ass and rolling around on the ground.
Oh God, yeah, we need to. I think that this is the one that we need to put on Twitter because this is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing scene.
So as they're doing that, Olive's friend, her doctor friend that works at the hospital with her, says, "Hey, we gotta hurry up. I have an enema in an hour."
I've got an enema in an hour.
Which I assume is her,
but not mine.
But I assume it's her enema because of the context. And it's like, okay, that's great that you set up an enema appointment at your own hospital for you, but I don't know if that was important to the story. So thank you for that. I appreciate that fucking image in my head. And now you have it too. Now the second thing. So as Clay is making his movie where he lies about how much he spends time with his dog and his dog likes him.
I'd like to interrupt you for just a moment and go back to that last scene.
Oh, you want to go back to the enema? Okay.
I just want to impress upon people. Yeah. I want to circle back around behind
to the
enema scene. So we can talk about the butt of the joke, which is her
enema,
and yeah. So, anyways, I do want to just mention them crying and screaming on the ground and throwing little tantrums to try and get the dog to
like
look
a
at them.
child.
Like, it is,
yeah.
It is so embarrassingly bad. The way that I want to describe this scene is, if you've ever gone to a local theater where they're doing improv nights, but they're doing local improv theater and it's their new people that are just starting out and have never done improv before, or if it's the high school improv, that's what this scene is. Asking those two actors to act and do wacky stuff to get a dog over to you. That's their prompt, and it is the two least skilled people for improv that I've ever seen, and they just film it one time, and then they're like, good enough, and that's it. Like, it is the worst improv scene I think I've ever seen. It is embarrassingly bad. Like, they are just... It's so low, and I want to make fun of it, but it's so... We'll have to show it, because
it's bad. It's bad.
It's impossible to explain, because it is just them laying on the ground, flailing their arms and going, Wesley! For a minute and a half. It's so bad. It's one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, they did the Airbud thing. Do you get it? It's Airbuds. But it's stupid.
I mean, have you seen Airbud? It's pretty stupid in Airbud.
I have, yeah. Yeah, but the dog chose the kid because of legal reasons at Airbud. This is just stupid.
These are they supposed to ad-lib this?
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no! Push the
Yep. See ya.
So Clay was taking a movie. He was making a movie. So he said that he was going to shoot the movie in black and white, and then Ryan, the actor, who has never heard this word before, attempts to say the word noir.
Film noir.
Mm-hmm. And it comes off as moi.
Film noir.
Noir.
Film
noir.
Film moi.
Film noir.
Film Noir.
And
they left that take in, and I don't think it was supposed to be a joke.
I don't know if it was or not. I'm not sure if it was, okay, you're a dumb hockey player, so you don't know what film noir is, but he goes film noir.
No, I think that was the actor. I don't think that was the character. Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, on the list of unfunny things this movie does, there is a Twitter and a Facebook known as Woofer and Dog page. There's a beer.
They also do a doggy-gram. They do
doggy-gram
too.
Miss
Doggy-gram.
They're all shit, and I hate those jokes. Yeah. And there's no humor or thought put into any of them.
Jokes. They flash them on screen as transitions for 3 seconds between certain scenes for no reason. Like, it's never shown that this dog has social media. It's never shown that any of these people are posting for it. They just threw it in there between scenes for... I don't fucking know. I have no fucking idea why that was in there.
Okay, and then...
Someone thought that was very smart.
In regards to other things they can't license, they have beer brand beer.
Oh god, yes, we do need to get into the licensing
which tastes
of this
like
movie.
Beer. I assume.
Beer with a star on it. It's Beer Star. You had Beer Star. Everybody's had 50-cent Beer Stars.
But of the things they could license, they put Papa John's in there.
Went out there and crushed the Papa John's Wolverines, all right?
Oh, because Papa John's paid them. That's almost certainly what that is. That, oh no, you see Papa John's fucking forked over some goddamn money.
Because the junior hockey team is called Papa John's Wolves.
Yes. Also, you did some research on that and found another licensing deal they did.
I don't remember the deal.
The minor hockey team, right? Wasn't it filmed wasn't the minor hockey team the actual hockey team?
Yes, sorry. This was filmed in Chicago at the Wolves Stadium in their locker rooms.
And they're called the Chicago Wolves.
And their costumes and their logo. It's all the Chicago Wolves, which is... That is a real team. And it is a pipeline into an actual real, NHL team.
Yes.
Correct. So they did this as a promotional for their minor league, hockey team.
Yep. To the point where you even said that you thought we need to look that up, but the coach that
might have been the real
CEO
coach
or whatever. Yeah, it seemed like it might have been the actual coach for the Wolves, which is Wow. Yeah. So they had some licensing agreements to make some money off this movie. I hope it worked out well for them. I mean, hey,
guess,
listen.
yeah.
In 2016, Papa John's had nowhere to go but up, 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 baby.
Until he was eating 40 pizzas a month.
20. This is just before he started eating 40 pizzas a month.
My God.
And
we will say no more about Papa John.
I feel like Papa John's really started his slide right about here.
This might have
I feel like
this
we
might
might
have
have
been
found
the
the
downfall.
inflection point.
Yeah, this could have been it.
Like I said, yeah.
Yeah.
We found the origin of the Papa John's story.
All right. That's all I want to say about it. The only other thing is, the only thing I can compare this movie to other than Mrs. Doubtfire is Jingle All the Way. And it has...
Yeah.
Those movies are 99.8% wolf. This movie is fucking 0.2% anything good.
This is the beta. This is the beta. Wait, actually, if they're 99.8% wolf, what's the other 0.2%?
Jokes?
This movie's not 0.2%
jokes? I don't know.
I just thought about that. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
They're 100% wolves, just having been bred out. Okay.
Whatever, yeah.
So, like, let's rate Wesley, the dog. The only dog in this movie.
Wesley has a full name. It's Wesley James Lonergan. That's his full name.
He has a Christian name, thank you.
Wesley
Yes,
is a very good boy. Loves pets. Loves sleeping in the human's bed and curling up under the sheets. Is way too good for either of these two fucking people.
Is very into pissing in cars.
Yep, very into that. Yep. Loves chewing pillows.
Cages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is an escape artist. But couldn't escape from this film.
Does wonderful paw paintings all up and down the hallways of his daycare center.
Sorry, you went robot.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Hello? Can you hear me?
You're robot.
I'm robot.
Robot.
Rubit. Well, I mean, we have the backup. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
No. Let's wait a second for it to reconnect. There we go. I think it reconnected.
Oh, it wasn't disconnected on my end.
Okay.
Better?
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
He does wonderful paintings up and down the hallways of his daycare center.
Oh, that's true.
Paw paintings.
It's true.
They have a horrible daycare center that makes the dogs do paintings against their will, and then when they let the dogs out while they're full of paint because they don't close any of the doors, they yell and scream at the dogs and then lock them in tiny little kennels and abuse them.
This movie thought that was funny.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah. I would say Wesley James Lonergan is a sweet lab, a sweet boy. Way too good for this film. Needs to call their agent out of 10.
I would like to rate this dog a BenQ GL 2450, which they might as well have fought over instead.
Yeah.
Because their prized gaming monitor that their father gave, one of their fathers gave to both of them as a present so they could play games together, which would have more emotional core than
this dog could have just
Wesley.
been a PlayStation 5 and it would have been the same.
Yes, yeah. It could have been a pre-order for a PlayStation.
Yeah, that
5.
could have been it. They could have gone to court over a pre-order of PlayStation 5.
Fighting over
it's the
a
same
pre-order.
fucking movie.
We pre-ordered it together. Well, I waited up for 8 hours refreshing the webpage to get that pre-order. Well, I paid for it on my credit card. It sounds like you both have pretty equal claim to this PS5. I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to give gaming rights to both of you.
Well, looks like we're gonna have to cut it in half and give you each half of that PS5.
The only way to make this movie more insufferable is to make them both gamers. There we go. We figured it out. We figured out the way to make them both worse people.
That's it. That's it.
That's it. I'm done. I'm tapped out of this movie.
Fuck, this movie sucks.
I'm tapping out of this one.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. I said to you at the beginning, I'm like, we have to watch that. It's about divorced dogs. That's so stupid. We have to see it. Boykes, we didn't have to see it.
We did not.
we really didn't. As it turns out, we didn't. You didn't have to watch it. I apologize. Sorry, everybody. This one's on me. I'm apologies. We'll come back next week and we'll have something that's better for you.
Yeah.
I think.
Hopefully.
Please come back. I hope that this isn't the last episode you all listen to. Bye.
Yeah, I have an enema in an hour, so I gotta get going. So.
Yeah, it's fair. I gotta back myself up to that appointment.
Yeah. All right. See you, folks.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. Living currently in Mark Shapiro should be in jail. He has no pizza experience. He's never been in the pizza category. I would just say, stay tuned. The day of reckoning will come. The record will be straight.
Why not set the record straight now? I mean, what is it about the record that's not straight?
Stay tuned.